Hey Paul, how are you?
I'm good, man. It's a bit strange not actually getting to see a face here, but we'll deal with it.
I can imagine. Hey, you're doing great already. Paul, I asked Shogun this. I'd like to ask you this. It's been a year since the first fight. You've both fought different guys since then. Why is it important for you personally to get this one back?
You know, we have a draw on your record. It means there's some unfinished business, and I believe that there is. Straight after the fight, he said he wants to run it back. I've been very vocal about running it back, and now we get to do that in Vegas.
Forgive me if this is an obvious question, but did you travel from Scotland to Vegas for this fight?
Yeah, especially seeing this pandemic where flights have been cancelled, we had to do a long, like the long way around basically. My flights were cancelled 3 times, and then we managed to get there. And my last parting message to the UFC travel department was, "Just get me there. It needs to happen."
That was my question because we have heard about, closures in Europe and everything else. Can you just describe what your route to Vegas was like? I mean, you say the long way around. What does that mean? How many stops did you have to make and where?
We started off obviously Glasgow to Amsterdam, had a bit of a layover in there, went to Minneapolis, and then from Minneapolis to Vegas, rather than that direct flight, which would have been lovely. But as long as we're here and we're able to have the fights able to go ahead, then I don't mind doing the travelling.
Since the first fight, obviously the whole world has been changed up a little bit. Were you still able to bring in the same people and just essentially all of the same things to prepare for Shogun as you did the last time?
I think we've actually had a better camp due to the lockdown. It's made us able to focus solely on professional fighters and all the guys we've got in the gym. So although the gym may have taken a hit financially through the memberships and all this kind of stuff, the fighters have flourished because they've had that one-on-one support and we've been able to construct a little bubble. So there's a very little chance of us contracting the virus.
My final question, do you feel that Shogun is any different as a fighter compared to the last fight? And did you prepare for him any differently in terms of the strategy or everything else?
You know, I don't see Shogun Rua as developing as much as myself. When you've got hunger and you've got goals, I feel you develop a lot quicker. And in a year, I've came night and day with regards to conditioning. My striking skills leveled up, my jiu-jitsu skills leveled up. Everything I do is always about to improve myself. I believe that Shogun Rua has made improvements, but I don't feel he's made them as great as I have. And we'll see what happens on Saturday night with regards to if he's developed massively. The last fight, I was able to take his shots. I was able to take him down. I was able to stand and strike with a striker. Like that's one of these things where you're always questioning yourself: Are you able to stand and bang? Are you able to stop a Brazilian legend from passing your guard and getting into a dominant position? And I believe I'd done that in that last fight. And we need to see on Saturday who's the better man.
Thank you, Paul. Good luck.
Pleasure, thanks.
We will take the next set of questions from Cote Cruz with the Four to Win podcast.
Hello, Craig. How you doing? Hello, Paul. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you absolutely fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for your time. Well, the first fight with Shogun you took on short notice. In which degree do you think this factor affected your performance in the first fight? And how do you feel about this rematch with a proper camp on your under your belt?
Yeah, having a full camp for any fights a massive advantage. You spend more time drilling the positions. You spend more time developing to fight a specific opponent. Having it in the 10 days, 3 weeks notice. Potentially, the conditioning wasn't as at the high level as we possibly could have had it in. We probably didn't have position drill enough positions in depth enough, but this was an opportunity and I took it, and I wouldn't have taken it if I wasn't ready. And I showed that in the night that I had something. I had that bit of lackluster. I had the the exchanges against the cage. I had the ability to take him down. So although the full camp will make a massive difference because we're able to drill certain positions where we felt, myself and my coach felt that we could have done better, we're going to see a totally different fighter from what you've seen me fighting in my previous win against Anti Gulov and the last time I drew again.
You're one of the best submission artists in the division, which shows in your 5 performance of the night and being one of the most condecorated light heavyweights in UFC history with that. But in your first fight with Shogun, you looked really good on the exchange on the feet, especially in the first round. How much has improved that, your striking, and how do you analyze this second fight from that standpoint?
Yeah, we, as you're saying, we're a submission guy, if you will. But what happens when a submission guy spends day in, day out drilling boxing, drilling Thai boxing, working on his fine motor skills that we develop for striking? You end up with a far better fighter, and that's what you're going to see come Saturday night. My striking is one of these areas where I've been constantly working on, as well as still adding a sort of still working on my jiu-jitsu, working on these positions that I'm really dangerous in. But ultimately, we've spent a lot of time with the striking, and it's going to show, and it has showed in my previous fights, where every single fight I'm a totally different fighter, and I think that's what keeps me hungry for this sport, and that's what keeps me developing within the light heavyweight rankings. I'm going to constantly keep going up there, and the day I stop developing as a fighter is the day that I leave the sport.
If you get past Shogun, who do you have in mind next?
You know, there's 13 guys in front of me, and I'll take any one of them. Ultimately, the goal is the title. So whoever's got that title, be it Blachowicz, be it Izzy, we don't mind, but that's ultimately what we're looking for. We set these goals about getting into the top 15, and we've achieved it. Win against Shogun Rua would potentially put us in the top 10 mix, and then after that, it's going to be top 5 and getting a 5-round fight and working away that title. Ultimately, leading 2020, the year of the Scot.